Hello, good people. Today I am making for you coleslaw. Two ways now, tangy and sweet. Sometimes some foods are better with the tang and some with the sweet. Let's get started on the tang first. All right, we're going to get started on this nice sweet coleslaw. I would say it's reminiscent of KFC. You know, y'all love that KFC coleslaw. And I'm making the sauce first. I'm starting here with about a cup of Miracle Whip. Now, Miracle Whip is a little bit different from mayo in that it is already sweetened. Not super sweet, but it does contain sugar, unlike mayo. Now, of course, you can always switch this out for mayo, but if you like a mayo driven version, just keep watching. And now I'm going to add some milk just to thin this out a little. That's about a quarter cup. Now, once you make this sauce, if you want it even thinner, you can add just a little bit more. And now for some sweetness. I am adding a quarter cup of sugar, just regular granulated sugar. Now you can always adjust this according to your taste. And now I'm going to add some lemon juice. I'm adding about a tablespoon of lemon juice. You can also use apple cider vinegar just to add a little tang in there. I'm also adding a half a teaspoon of salt. I'm going to do a half a teaspoon of celery seed, a quarter teaspoon of dried tarragon. Of course, if you don't have it, that's fine. You can leave it out, but it just adds a nice layer of flavor there. And of course, my Dijon mustard, that's optional. I'm adding about a half a teaspoon there. If you don't have Dijon and you just want just to add a little bite to it, you can use your regular yellow mustard or just forego it all together. And it's just that easy. All we have to do now is mix it up until it's nice and smooth. It's nothing more difficult than that. Of course, as you can see, if you want to thin it out, you can. I'm going to mix it up a little bit more so you can see the consistency. And for me, in my house, coleslaw was something that we use for many different meals. Of course, you know, what's famous is the pulled pork, putting it on your pulled pork sandwich. Of course, you can see it in a lot of those like seafood tacos. But we had it with fried fish a great deal of the time. Don't hate on the fried fish, skillet potatoes, and some coleslaw on the side. uh, but look, you can also even have it as a salad with some baked chicken, fried chicken. It is a easy, quick side. Well, depending on how crunchy you want it. If you don't want it too crunchy, you can let it sit for quite a bit of time. And as you can see, I am finished with that sauce. And now it's time to add. I am just doing a bag. It's about 14 ounces of coleslaw mix. You can use chopped, or you can chop it yourself. How fine, of course, depends on you. I'm going for a nice little rustic cut there. I'm going to keep it just like it is. And basically, I'm just going to mix the two. Now, this sauce is enough to be extra saucy, but you don't have to put all of it in if it's not your texture. And I'm going to add just a little hidden flavor, and that is about 2 tablespoons of minced onions. Of course, you can grate it in for a better blend, but really, even with the minced onions, you barely know it's there. Just gives a little hidden flavor inside. Now, if you don't want any onions in there, you don't have to put them in. But if you love onions like I do, go ahead and throw in two teeping. There I go again. 2 heaping tablespoons. I'm talking too fast today. I am talking too fast. As you can see, I'm using all of the sauce. Now, once you blend this in with the cabbage mixture, it is going to sweat down those veggies. Now, I prefer a overnight sit, but you can let it sit for about, I would say, 2 hours at the minimum. It's going to be crunchy. It's still going to be creamy. But just remember, if you do it overnight, it will be more creamier. That's one of the tricks of coleslaw. You think you have a large bowl, you pull it out the next day, half of it is gone. Now, of course, you're going to see the results of a 24-hour chill in the refrigerator. Nice and creamy, and you don't have to go to KFC to get that nice, sweet, and slightly tangy coleslaw. Not anymore. Now this one is definitely different. The first thing I'm going to do is make my own buttermilk or buttermilk substitute. And that's by adding some apple cider vinegar or lemon juice to whole milk. Now lemon juice, of course, doesn't bring as much tang. So I'm using 1 tablespoon of lemon juice to a 1/4 cup of milk. Now go ahead and let that hang out for 10 minutes and curdle up, and we'll go ahead and get started on that sauce. Now I'm going to start off with a cup of mayo. You can use a Miracle Whip just like we did in the first half of this video. You can also do half mayo and half sour cream for a nice lighter, more refreshing texture there. Also, you know that sour cream gives you a nice little added tang. For this, I'm going to add some vinegar, and I'm going to also use some lemon juice. So I'm going to do a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and a tablespoon of lemon juice. Of course, the fresher the lemon you use, the fresher or the more brighter that your dish will come out. But by all means, you may use your concentrated lemon juice. And I am using a little bit of herbs there. So that's going to be a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/2 teaspoon of celery seed, and a 1/4 teaspoon of your dried crushed tarragon. And of course, I'm going to add a little bit of sugar. You can adjust it anywhere from 2 to 4 tablespoons of sugar. And for optional purposes here, I'm going to use about let's say about a 1/2 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. It's of course totally optional. Now don't get me wrong when I say this, because I love that sweet, creamy coleslaw that makes you think of KFC style. But I also love a nice little tangy coleslaw as well. Just depends on what I'm eating. Some days you want it sweet and some days you want it tangy. And of course, you know me. Some days I like it spicy. Yes, some days I put a little spice in it. What is your favorite? Do you like it sweet or you like it tangy? Do you like it chopped real fine or do you like it coarse chopped? So now look, we're going to get back to this sauce here. I'm going to go ahead and add that substitute buttermilk mixture, and that's basically the milk and the vinegar. Now, if you have some buttermilk on hand, you can go ahead and use that instead. And we're just going to whip it up until it's nice and smooth. Now, this one is a little bit thinner than the first coleslaw. But of course, once you let it chill in that refrigerator for quite some time, it's going to thicken up and get extra creamy. And now I'm going to go ahead and start adding the other ingredients. Yes, that's what you see, a nice sweet onion. It's that season of the sweet onions, that Valdelia onion. And I'm just using a little bit of it. You can grate it up or mince it up just like you did in the first video, or like I did in the first video. And again, I'm using a 14-ounce bag of coleslaw. Of course, you have a nice size cabbage and some carrots at home. You can chop it up and grate it up how you like it. And again, I'm just adding that to the vegetable mix. Now I know we all have our preferences. If you like that angel hair coleslaw, that really fine, thin coleslaw strings, then that is perfectly fine to use. You want to add some purple cabbage in there, some red cabbage, as they say. You can go ahead and throw that in as well. Now, as you can see, again, the sauce is thinner, but it'll thicken up. I'm going to use this whole bowl here into my coleslaw mix. It is according to your preference of texture. This recipe is definitely made for those who like a nice, saucy, creamy coleslaw, but you can adjust it. Now, once we mix it up, of course, you're just going to go ahead and throw that in the refrigerator anywhere from 2 hours until overnight. Now, I made this version here when I actually made my Carolina style pulled chicken. So I did not let it sit in the refrigerator for that long, but it was still just as good. And if you haven't seen that video, you got to check it out. So as you can see here, it is nice and mixed. And again, the texture, don't be alarmed if you like it creamier, because it will definitely change once it sits. So tell me, what do you use or what do you eat with your coleslaw? Is it a side dish or a topper? Let me know down below. Alrighty, y'all, that is it. We done covered the tangy and the sweet coleslaw. And whatever which one you choose, just make sure there's plenty. Thank you for hanging out with me. Don't worry, more comfort food is coming your way. Just click right here.